Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's Inside the Boardroom. My name is James Bedham and today I'm joined by Michael Hudson, CEO and Chairman of Hannan Metals. Michael, it's great to be chatting with you today.
James, lovely to be here with you from down under.
So if we could kick things off with a quick overview of the company, you can give us the elevator pitch and maybe speak to both the Valiente project and the agreement you have with JOGMEC as well.
Sure, James. We're a bunch of seasoned explorers in the capital markets, I suppose, and made lots of discoveries, and that's what we love doing. So that's clearly going to focus the company in terms of our skill set. And a number of years ago, we said, where can we make a big swing, make a big difference? And we went back to a country. Well, not really went back. We've been there for, since the mid-90s working in Peru. And we've held databases there since the mid-90s. We bought databases from receivers of a major company there in the 90s. So it's founded on lots of desire to find things with a big database behind us. And we said, where can we make new big discoveries? The 10 largest copper mines in the world today are the same that were 10 years ago, and their grade's half. So nobody's making those big new discoveries. And we've searched around old legacy projects and tried to make them bigger, but we said, where are we going to go? And so we said, let's go into the back arc of Peru, over the Andes, and there's two types of copper mineralization there. The two best known forms of copper mineralization, sediment-hosted copper, which is the JOGMEC JV, where we have a JV with the Japanese government, and then the Valiente project, which is about 250 kilometres south, where we found a new porphyry belt. We've got about 18 new porphyries there now. So, number one, it's been successful in terms of that, taking that big swing, and now we've just been unpeeling the onion, if you like, working our way through de-risking the project. And there's no doubt that we've got two new copper frontiers in this company.
Great. And can you give us an overview of the work that you've done so far this year? And are you actively working on both Valiente and the JOGMEC JV, or just Valiente at the moment?
Yeah, no, we've got about 10 geologists in country, so it's a reasonably large team. We're one of the top landholders in Peru, so we've got a lot of land, a lot of tenure, and so we want to work that. It's $3 per hectare per year to hold ground in Peru, so you really want to work it and turn it over. So with 10 geologists, that's quite a large team. It's about 50-50 split between JOGMEC and Valiente. Peru has been awfully slow around the permitting side of things. They've got themselves into a real funk, and we know the country very well, and I work with people, I've worked there for 30 years, so people who know the system. And it's been very frustrating, but we haven't ever over-egged the permitting. We've got this large opportunity, and we said, let's if you're going to invest in Hannan, it's put the stock in your back pocket, and it's going to be worth a lot more one day. And I think that one day is almost here now. We got our first permits in San Martin to drill, and drilling should come up in the next few months, and we're working our way very rapidly in the Valiente area. And we also actually have a side project, because we wanted to keep drilling going on a blind porphyry in Chile as well, that will drill over the coming months. So that whole work program that you asked is really de-risking, lots and lots of work at surface, but still very much just at the very earliest stages of discovery. There's 18 porphyries in Valiente, over 50 kilometres, and there's 100 kilometres of a copper-rich horizon in the JOGMEC JV. So a lot of de-risking work, surface work, geophysics, mapping, prospecting, and making lots of discoveries.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that overview. I know you recently announced a new Copper-Gold Porphyry showing at the Pristo Central target in the Valiente project. Can you tell us a bit more about what you see in there?
Well, internally, I'll give you the word that we use. That's the monster. It is really quite a large target. So firstly, we identified it a couple of years ago with stream sediments. So we got stream sediment sampling in these new areas right across both basins, if you like, and then we went in there, saw some amazingly rich rocks. In fact, Teck is a 9.9% holder of Hannan, and they came in on a basis of what they saw really in that Previsto area, even though the Valiente project they like very much. So we saw some really interesting rocks, but we didn't get access socially. This is a very new area that we've gone into, so we spent years working with the people socially to demonstrate what we're doing. The prospect, cateo y prospección, is the type of work, so just early stage exploration basically we're doing, and explaining what that is and where it may lead, and gaining trust and confidence, and demonstrating credibility. So we've done that over the last 18 months to 2 years in this area. We gained access to Previsto earlier this year, and now we're starting to really unravel it. It's a 4 by 3 kilometre area. We've got soil sample lines running sub-ore grade gold and copper over kilometres. We've got outcrops that are just glistening green that we're finding over this large area. It's jungle, so it doesn't give much up. You've got to work through and take it piece by piece, but keep your eyes on how that is unraveling. A 4 by 3 kilometre porphyry underpinned by a magnetic and potassic target with all this soil sampling and rock chips on top of it is pretty compelling. The style of it is gold rich also, so it will attract interest from the gold companies as well as the copper companies, and we're really racing there. We got we had all 10 geologists there for the last month or so, and as we're trying to really advance that project.
Thank you so much for that overview, Michael. I do want to touch on the permitting process. You mentioned that a few moments ago. Can you give us a sense of what that's like in Peru, and are you still waiting on any more exploration permits?
Yeah, always waiting on drill permitting. So we have all the tenure in hand, but because we've got such large areas, the strategy has been to get the first permit and then second, third, fourth, and over the next 2, 3, 4 years we'll have a chain of permits basically in place that will allow us to drill. The first permit was granted earlier this year. It's called a DIA, a Declaration Impacto Ambiental, basically a EIA, environmental impact assessment. And the amount of work that you have to do for early stage drilling in Peru is quite a lot. Literally there's 20 people have to go out there and collect air, water, etc. And then the decision-making process and the review and handing it back and waiting another month, and then once you've got the permit, you've got to get another permit to initiate activities and a water permit. So it's classic bureaucracy. It's not personal to Hannan, but the Peruvian government, we're working with them and telling them that their dollars, the exploration dollars, are fungible. If they don't get their system right, dollars will go elsewhere. And we are seeing green shoots without a doubt. The first permit that we got permitted earlier this year was close to 2 years waiting. The next one that's in the ranks, Valiente, is literally 18 months ahead of where we were with the last permit in terms of the stages. So they are listening and they are trying to get development and responsible explorers working. So, and remember, we know how Peru works with being there for nearly 30 years. We're not some newbie into the country, so we know and respect the Peruvian way.
Great, yeah, I can imagine it helps to have a lot of local experience when navigating a process that, as you put it, sounds quite bureaucratic. Looking ahead, for the rest of the year for Hannan, what can investors expect in terms of updates?
Yeah, so this is the year that we've been promising for a couple of years now, in terms of we made the big discoveries, we've gone in there, new areas, taking a big swing. You won't find many exploration companies doing what we're doing, and literally we could be, in 5 to 10 years, there could be 30 to 40 years of production from these areas, huge areas, generational changing areas. So this is our first year to drill. So San Martin, the JOGMEC JV with the Japanese government, we're going through final permitting there, and we expect to be on the ground with the drill rig in the next couple of months. Chile, a higher risk target but a lower cost, so you offset risk and cost. we should be drilling in the coming months also. And then Valiente, there's an area called Balen, which we haven't talked about, where we've got a project and 2 porphyries and an epithermal zone over 12 kilometres, not small, is working its way towards permitting, and we're seeing that rapidly advance. So we'll keep the market informed when we know more about that. So at least 2 projects being drilled between this year, and ideally 3 if we get very fortunate around the permitting. So it's and that's only just a start, right? We're a 100-kilometre long system in the Jogmec JV and 18 porphyries to unravel in Valiente. So the secret will be to pick the best ones first if we can.
Great. Well, certainly sounds like there's a lot to look forward to this year. Just to wrap up, is there anything that we haven't touched on that investors should be keeping in mind when they're looking at Hannan?
Look at the copper demographic that I touched on. Look at the people who've made big discoveries in their careers and follow them. And then look at the people who are trying to really make big differences and give maximum torque to a junior exploration company where you can literally go from tens of millions to hundreds and hundreds if you get this right. And that's certainly where Hannan is very well poised.
Great. Well, Michael, looking forward to more updates throughout the year. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, James.